But obviously the big story while we were in Paris and Europe and gallivanting with the hose was Kyle Whittingham getting hired at Michigan. And I think one of the things that I find so fascinating about this conversation is that now all of a sudden in Utah and Utah Ute country and BYU country, all of a sudden now Kyle Whittingham is some kind of a villain. And this is what I struggle with now. We attack people. We attack systems that we all put in place. And I understand whether it's the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, whether it is Kyle Whittingham taking everybody and their brother, literally their brothers too, to Michigan from the state of Utah, to be on the staff at Michigan. We created this system. We did. Everybody yesterday on the old tweet machine losing their mind over how much money Texas Tech has already spent in the portal. We created this system. This is what college football has become, because all we as fans do, and this is why I largely tell you, I take my emotions out of my sports teams, because now you got what you wanted, more access. We need more teams, Monty. Well, you got more teams. Well, the kids should be free to do whatever they want. Okay, well, the kids are free to do whatever they want, and now they're the villains. Kyle Whittingham goes to Michigan, takes the job that everybody would have taken, and he's just supposed to go make all new relationships and not hire the people and bring the people that he's spent decades building relationships with to build the best possible staff so he can succeed. So what, he should just go to Michigan and fail? Kyle Whittingham's not a villain. Kyle Whittingham's a professional. Kyle Whittingham, if you're a Michigan fan today, Kyle Whittingham's a hero. And deservedly so, right? And the first comment yesterday was, oh, hero should, that word's overused, Monty. That word should be saved for soldiers. Lighten up, Lucy. Okay, like, settle down. My point is, this is the system we all created and supported. We all played a big role in making this whole thing that you're all upset about. We created this system, right? And I look at this Kyle Whittingham situation, great hire for Michigan. It is probably the only guy that is bulletproof ethically that you could have hired, right? And you're going to hear from Portnoy, Dave, Provo guy, the moral, apparently, compass of Ann Arbor, which is not saying much because he doesn't have one. But the amazing part about Kyle Whittingham going to Michigan is he's probably the only guy that they could have hired that you can't even touch his ethics. The guy has never had even a blip on the radar. Whether it is interacting with women, whether it is interacting with recruits, whether it is how he uses butter knives in his home. Nobody has ever, probably too soon. Whoa, probably too soon. My point is, Kyle Whittingham's beyond reproach ethically.
Yeah, I mean, it is the perfect hire. I mean, I think that it's convenient how the timing all worked out on both sides. I mean, there was so much made about the Kenny Dillingham thing and so much made about, candidate after candidate not being interested in taking the Michigan job, Michigan not offering them because they just didn't want the job. And I think on Utah's side, this Kyle Whittingham leaving situation, I think, has been bandied about. I think a lot of people are quick to say that he was pushed out or that somehow the administration was ready to move on. And I just don't agree with that. I think, and again, it's not, I'm not factually saying this, but just my opinion on it is I don't believe that it got to a place where Utah's administration was just trying to push Kyle Whittingham out. But I do think that Kyle Whittingham's not stupid. I think that Kyle Whittingham understands that he wants to win a national championship before he retires, which is where I think the retire versus resign, situation at Utah was born, right? Everybody was surprised when it was resign, not retire. And I think that Kyle Whittingham has for the last really since I think since Cam Rising got hurt against Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, I think Kyle Whittingham said to himself, hey, like, I'm not going to leave Utah right this second, but the end is in sight, right? I need to find a way to properly leave Utah without burning a bridge or causing drama or just doing it the wrong way. And I also know that I want to win a national championship. And so these two were sort of a match made in heaven because obviously, Michigan as a brand has a lot more relevance, has a lot more stature in terms of the CFP than Utah does. And I also think that the road to the CFP through the Big Ten is a lot easier than it would be in the SEC or the ACC as a coach leaving the Big 12. So to me, I think that Kyle Whittingham saw an opportunity. Kyle Whittingham talked to his family, chose to take advantage of it, and I just think it works for both sides. Now, again, let's not ignore Kyle Whittingham's flags as a head coach. The guy is inheriting a quarterback in Bryce Underwood, who's got some of the worst mechanics in college football as a quarterback.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yes.
And I agree that he took everybody and their mom from the staffs in the state of Utah in football. But that doesn't change the fact that he's going to have to develop him. And assuming that that's the route they go. I mean, Bryce hasn't gotten in the portal, so I'm assuming that he's staying. But I just think that it's a situation where it's not going to be good enough just to have a stout defense at Michigan and patchwork it on offense like you did at Utah. You want to win a national championship, Kyle, you need to develop a quarterback and you need to have an effective offense.
Yeah, I don't have any question in my mind. This is the right move. This is so far beyond, is this a good move? I am telling you right now, this is a great move. It's not a good move. It's a really good move. We've got to stop, though, vilifying these guys doing the exact same thing we would do. And Utah fan, I have a love-hate relationship with Utah fans. I think that's very...
As does everybody.
This is not somehow now surprising, or I think Utah fan is one of the most difficult fan bases to deal with. I think they're just the victim every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Whittingham is the only reason that Utah football is really even relevant. If we're being honest, you look at what he's done post Urban Meyer, the guy is Utah football. To vilify him now and to be upset that he hired the guys that he played a huge role in developing and mentoring, who have worked around him. I just don't know how does this make Kyle Whittingham a villain? How does this mean that he's done something wrong?
Yeah, the obvious argument is that he rated Utah and BYU. That's what emotional football fan is saying. Oh,
but what else is he supposed to do?
Well, I mean, Utah and BYU fan are saying that he's supposed to go out and find other people for his staff. But I just think it's such a flawed argument. I mean, I don't know how else to say it other than to say Kyle Whittingham is the reason those guys are in the position they're in, right? Like Kalani, Jay Hill, even Morgan Scalley, right? I mean, not that, Morgan Scalley has had drama, but he's in that position because Witt's been such a reliable fixture in Utah football. So I just
think wait. Morgan Scalley doesn't have a career today.
Yeah.
After the text message scandal and all of that, the racially insensitive, to be kind, comments that Morgan Scalley had, Kyle Whittingham battled for Morgan Scalley. We tend to forget that, and I understand why Ute fan is in Morgan we trust and Scalley's our guy. Okay, cool, I get that. Morgan Scalley's probably going to do a very fine job. That doesn't mean that Kyle Whittingham's a bad guy, because he's not a bad guy. It doesn't mean that what Kyle Whittingham's doing is somehow, again, morally bankrupt or wrong or victimizing. But bro, it's not like he went and took every single person off the Utah. Well, he did off the Utah. That's very true. But he took Jay Hill from BYU, right? Like, you look at his staff, he has an elite staff. But who mentored all of those people throughout their career? Who hired a lot of those people? Who got them started? Kyle Whittingham. That's his network. That's his base. That's when you get a job the size and scope of Michigan, you're going to go and make all new relationships? No. You're going to go with the guys who you help mentor and who have delivered you wins.
And they were excited to go.
Yes,
let's not make it like dude was dragging them to Michigan. Like they were excited to go to Michigan because it's Michigan. And I hope that, I really hope for their sake that they can avoid scandal. And I know that Michigan fan is talking about, Witt's ability to run a clean program and, Witt's ability to do all these great things. But with all due respect, dude has jumped in the ocean now, right? Like we're in a different level of college football now. And I think that I'm not sitting here saying that Witt's going to have Jim Harbaugh level scandal or something, but I just think when you step up in program, that risk tends to go up. You're dealing with more people. There's more expectation. There's more money. There's more temptation across your staff. So I just think that Kyle Whittingham, the best thing he can do for himself is get the quarterback position figured out one way or the other and go out and win games. And I don't expect Kyle Whittingham to beat Ohio State year one. And I don't think Michigan fans should expect him to beat Ohio State year one.
No.
But what I do think you should expect is you should expect this guy to have the best defense in the country. Not in the Big Ten, not in any conference, but the best defense in the country, because there's no excuse now. You've got money, you've got stature, you're in the Big Ten, like you're a defensive guy. Best defense in the country, bar none. And then from there, you have to be able to run the football and run a proper offense. I will not be sitting here saying Kyle Whittingham's done a good job if they're running for 80 yards a game and putting up, struggling to put up 20 points. That's not good enough. They're going to need to put up anywhere between 24 to 27 points a game for it to be quality at that point.
Do you believe that Bryce Underwood is a Heisman Trophy caliber quarterback?
I think he's got the talent for that, but he's nowhere near that right now. I mean, I think that the guy is just a raw talent. He hasn't had development. Everything from his vision down the field to the decisions he makes to the mechanics. His mechanics, in my opinion, are worse than Bear Bachmeier's. His mechanics are some of the worst in college football. The motion, the way he uses his legs, like all of it. Now
his throwing motion is terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's awful.
But if you look at what Jason Beck, the offensive coordinator at Michigan now, you look at what he did with Devin Dampier and you look at his track record with quarterbacks, I have no doubt in my mind Bryce Underwood can win a Heisman Trophy. He's got the talent in him. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's got the mentals. He does not seem to be resilient. He does not seem to. I want to see Kyle Whittingham and Jason Beck turn Bryce Underwood into a fierce competitor. I want to see him on the field attacking defenses. And I didn't see that this year because I don't believe I don't think he ever bought into what Butter Knives was selling. Mm-hmm. I don't think he ever bought into that system. I think that he wants to be a dual threat quarterback. There was no better dual threat offense than Utah's this year. So,
we'll see. We'll see. I mean, they're going to need to fast track him this offseason in terms of mechanics and how he throws the football. Because that's the biggest thing. That, like, you don't need to work on his ability to run the football or run RPO or any of that. Like, he just needs to learn how to throw a football at a higher level. And then I think, he needs to learn how to read defenses better, because that's like, I think about the Oklahoma game. Now, again, that's Brent Venables, one of the best defenses in the country at that time in the season. So, a little bit of slack, but like, you're in a place where you're the program you're playing for, there is no more excuses. And this is what I think. I hope that Witt embraces this, and I'm sure he does. But like, you've gone from a program that in Utah that should dominate the Big 12 and should theoretically be a CFP team to a program in Michigan that's a CFP team regularly through cheating or not cheating over the years, and is a program that should have the expectation to win the Big 10 every single year, regardless of what, Oregon or Indiana or Ohio State or any of those guys are doing. You are Michigan. I don't want to hear any excuses on that.
What do you think the top end, as we talk about Kyle Whittingham being hired at Michigan, What do you believe the top end is? Because I do think it's national championship. I think one of the things that so many people don't want to talk about when it comes to Utah, one of the things that so many people don't want to talk about is there is a my favorite term, a glass ceiling in place when it comes to recruiting and talent at Utah. I think it is obviously Kyle's legacy at Utah will be he's never had the best quarterback in any conference he's played in. He's never had the best passing offense in any conference he's played in. His passers and his wide receivers, whether it's Alex Smith, Travis Wilson, I mean, we can go down the list. Cam Rising. He has always had issues with explosive offenses and having elite skill position players who he did not flip to be safeties and linebackers. That's the honest truth. His best receivers in a lot of years, guys like Jake Murphy, great tight ends. And that's not going to win you a national championship. Tight ends now are important. But I think when you look at Kyle Whittingham at Utah, can he break that stigma that he doesn't recruit? That he doesn't recruit the best quarterbacks in the best skill positions. Because he's always had running backs. He's always had tight ends. I don't think he's ever had one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and that includes Cam Rising, or whether he's never had elite wide receiver talent. No. He's never had that. And you look speed, he's had all kinds of speed. You can go to Kalen Clay. Mm-hmm. Right. Remember Kalen Clay, amazing speed, played in the NFL. Kyle Whittingham's a defensive head coach. Does Jason Beck year 2 with Kyle Whittingham change that? We're going to find out, because I think they've lost a lot of talent, but they brought in a lot of talent. I think Bryce has an opportunity with this staff to be elite. Jim Harding is one of the singular best offensive line and schematic coaches in the entire country, who is Kyle Whittingham's former co-offensive coordinator, O-line coach, associate. Like, he is everything. His staff is rock solid. The cap has come off. The ceiling has been risen with Michigan football for Kyle Whittingham. And so it'll be interesting to see if we take out Jabba the Manual and we get rid of Butter Knives guy and we bring in a football-focused coaching staff, and we take out the devil at Michigan. If the devil at Michigan is gone now, I think the ceiling and the expectations have to go up. I think that Kyle Whittingham is a significantly better coach than Jim Harbaugh ever was. He's a proven winner in a very difficult climate in the Pac-12. I'm here for it. Does this mean that Michigan's better than Ohio State? Stop. And I'm reticent to play this sound because I think everybody in Provo, it moves a little bit for you guys, and that's an honor code violation. When you hear Provo Dave talking about BYU, oh, that's right. He forgot what BYU is. No, because Provo Dave apparently now is Ann Arbor Dave again.
We are so fucking back. I don't even know what to do about it. Listen, I was a little worried about this Michigan coaching search. Not going to lie. I was saying, I hope we know what we're doing. I hope these guys in charge, I don't even know who that is, but I hope we have a plan because time is a ticking and I'm getting nervous. You saw Kalen DeBoer. No, I didn't want him. You saw Dillingham didn't get offered. I was like, oh, I would have loved Dillingham. And then what happens? Kyle Whittingham. Yes, Kyle Whittingham from Utah. 2 decades at Utah. One of the greatest coaches in the history of college football. Listen, Provo Dave knows him well. He built a powerhouse, tough, physical, Michigan-type football. I've heard Urban Meyer. He never dreamed this. I heard Urban Meyer whisper in production meetings at Big Noon Kickoff. Man, that Whittingham's the best coach I've ever seen. And now he comes to Michigan. This isn't just rebuilding, restarting. This is the beginning of a dynasty. The Michigan ethos, the Michigan man mantra, it's back.
Provo Dave.
Oh, my God.
Do you can't at least BYU fan? And I know we have a ton of BYU fans that listen to this show. And my sincere, listen, my sincere condolences on Jay Hill, because I think that's going to be really tough to beat, Jay Hill. But do you really want to lay down with a dog like Provo Dave? Because I'm amazed that BYU fan just laps up on this guy's boots. I'm amazed with it.
I mean, I just think it was. Listen, it was classic. Hey, like, big personality guy is now on the BYU bandwagon, right? That's what it was. It was like, oh man, Dave Portnoy is now suddenly rooting for us. Dave Portnoy is advocating for us to be in the CFP. Man, what a hero this guy is for us. What a great personality. Let's ignore all the anti-women comments. Let's ignore all the nasty ass things that Dave has said over the years. You just
hate BYU. That's why you're saying these things.
I know. I just hate BYU, and I'm the only one pointing out the fact that morally correct and perfect moral school BYU is rooting for a guy who says and does the things that Dave Portnoy does.
Don't Retzloff this thing up, okay?
Well, listen dude, bro. I mean, again, BYU is the only one that got left out of the CFP, right? I mean, ultimately, we're just in a spot where I think that people aren't talking about BYU as far as Whittingham goes.
No,
but and Kalani put out the statement and handled it like a professional, but losing Jay Hill that's a big loss, dude. That's a big loss. And I trust Kalani. I'm sure that he'll bounce back. I'm sure that they will be very good.
In Kalani, we trust.
Yeah, in Kalani, we trust. Make BYU good again. Like, we get it. I think that there's a lot that has to happen here for BYU to get into the CFP. I don't think that Utah is going to be CFP good. I think that, all the people saying that Morgan Scalley is just going to do this incredible job and they're not going to lose a step. I think they're going to lose a big step. I think that you don't go from being a DC or an OC to a head coach and then all of a sudden you just have it all figured out. So I think that the focus should stay on Michigan and Kyle Whittingham and the job he does, because he's been here and he's done that. He knows what he wants to do. The stage will not intimidate him. He's been waiting for it. I mean, imagine being in a role for however long, 2 decades, and you're pondering retirement, and you probably talked to your family and you said, you know what, I haven't won a national championship yet. I got to make a move. I don't
think he was pondering retirement. Talking to people at Utah, I think Kyle Whittingham wanted 3 more years at Utah. And we need to set this part straight. Nobody forced Kyle Whittingham out at Utah. Nobody said, you're going to leave now. Get out. Nobody said that. My sources have told me that Kyle Whittingham wanted 3 more years. And Utah was unwilling to do that. And I am also told that Morgan and Kyle had long conversations about this. There was never a time where Morgan Scalley said, if Kyle Whittingham does not retire, I'm quitting. Morgan never said that. Everybody wants to sensationalize these things behind the scenes. What I am told is that Kyle Whittingham was not ready to retire. This past season reinvigorated him, and he wanted 3 more years. And Utah said, we have a contract in place with Morgan Scalley, and we believe now is the right time to make that choice. And Kyle Whittingham was never going to stand in the way. He was never going to force them to fire him. He was not going to put them in an awkward spot like that. So he stepped away. But notice when he stepped away, he never used the word retirement. Kyle Whittingham has as much fire and passion as any coach in the country right now. He's ready. He wants to keep fighting. He wants to keep coaching. To your point, I think he wants to improve the bullet points on his resume.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have no doubt that Kyle Whittingham is going to succeed at Michigan. I have no question in my mind. I think he will be significantly better. I think he will be significantly better. All right, let's get to your thoughts. As always, the comment section on the Monty Show. You are welcome. Whether you agree with us or not, please have your words. Who is the first? Jake, who is going to get the first comment of 2025, 2026.
Well, let's see. Let me just look. I just want to go back to the top here. Let's see. Man, there's a lot of options, dude. There's a lot of options.
There's not, though. There's not. I think when it comes to the first comment of 2026 and the red assery and somebody who this particular commenter represent this particular individual,
this guy,
and this guy and all of his stuff.
Bavakwa.
Yeah, fucking Bavakwa. This guy meets the certain criteria to be a man, because this guy's got more fucking chest hair than anybody else on his face. And of course, I'm talking about Mike Smith. that pube beard's amazing, Mike.
Yeah.
The Nan Purse Euro boys are back. Hit the like button. Yes, we are back. Europe was amazing. I see a lot of people in the comment section asking two things. Are we a morning show again? And are we carrying man purses? Yes and yes. Europe was amazing. We went to Paris, London, and Paris. It's unfortunate that it happened to be the coldest December on record in the country of France. And I'm not making that up. This was the coldest December ever recorded in France. And it was cold. Not good, but we loved it. And if you follow me on the old tweet machine and Insta Snap Face, the talk and stuff, you saw we had a great time. So yes, the man purse was epic. It was. I fully rocked the man purse for weeks at a time, and I loved every second of it. This isn't America. This isn't,
what?
So yeah, it was awesome. We walked over 100,000 steps, Mrs. Monty and I. I think we calculated it at almost 200 miles we walked on that trip. We'll get into the details later in the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have a lot of details on it. So Mike, we are thrilled that Mike Smith is part of our show. Rock and Rant, what a pleasant surprise. Boy, how about Miami?
I don't want to hear you complaining, bro.
How about Miami? Even with the Carson Beck effect, and I'm a big believer, and I think we've talked about this, but I'm a big believer that quarterbacks are your ceiling, right? And I think Carson Beck will ultimately be the undoing, but there's no way to even argue that these two wins are stylistically, they could not be more different. Miami beating A&M, Miami beating Ohio State in a shockingly bad performance out of Ohio State. Like, I don't even know how you explain how bad they were. Oh, I know how you explain it. Desmond Bain should have probably gotten way more Heisman Trophy consideration.
Stay hard.
That's how you explain it. Because yeah, my guy, love my guy. Doug Riley, the question every Utah fan has: does Utah fall back into mediocrity after Kyle took almost all of the offensive coaching staff? I hope not. I think Morgan Scalley is somebody that we've talked about for a decade. And he's been the coach in waiting, I think, before he was born. Morgan Scalley's a Utah man through and through. And if you're a Utah fan and you're upset with Kyle, I'd love to hear it, because I don't get it. But Morgan Scalley, I don't think Morgan Scalley is going to fail. I don't. The Chad Carter, hello. Chad, good to see you. Oh, look.
It's the stadium guy, James. Everybody's favorite
James,
TCU
welcome
fan.
back.
Hi, James. So, FTR for the rectum, or the rectory in this case. I don't like
Bro
the change.
can't escape it, dude. You are not escaping the butt buzzer 5,000, bro. It's not happening.
Happy New Year to you, sir. Congratulations on losing Josh Hoover from your beloved TCU.
Yeah, aren't you excited? TCU is going to be more ass than they were this year. Isn't that great?
My God, you guys. You look at and we can start mixing in the transfer portal. I don't know what's in the water with Kurt Signetti in Bloomington, but Josh Hoover's going to Indiana. And I think it is high time.
It's simple. He's winning. Give the guy credit. He's winning big games. And I don't know where you come down on Fernando Mendoza at this point, but I do think Fernando Mendoza is.
You do too.
Well, I just think that Fernando Mendoza is a great quarterback, man. I mean, the development, the way he reads the defense, the way he delivers the football. I don't love him running the football as much. I mean, he is capable of it, but I much prefer him pocket passing. But I think that Fernando Mendoza, is a blueprint. If you're Josh Hoover, you're sitting here saying, "Hey, I want to go somewhere where I can improve my draft stock," because frankly, again, with all due respect to TCU, it's just not a big enough program right now to highlight someone like that. So why not go to a national championship caliber program that Signetti has built and pull the Will Howard, right? Go to a big program.
Fernando Mendoza is a hell of a college quarterback. I think Fernando Mendoza is a guy who is going to really struggle to assimilate to the NFL game. But he's really good in college. I would take Josh Hoover over Fernando Mendoza. I think that highly of Josh Hoover. But I think that what we've seen in Fort Worth is not good enough. Not good enough. What Sonny Dykes has not built in Fort Worth is not good enough. Yeah. We've got to get over, he took us to the college football playoff, Monty.
How long ago?
Right. That was 1967.
Right.
Okay. I watched Landman. I know what Fort Worth is like.
Yeah.
The point is, Josh Hoover had to leave Fort Worth. He could not stay at TCU. It's just that was untenable. And now the problem is he's going to go to a place where they have legitimately elite defense. And him with an elite defense, and if Sig can add some more outside talent, Josh Hoover's going to thrive there.
Yes.
They're very well coached. Their system is very solid. You're not asked to be spectacular, but you certainly can be. Dude, I think that is one of the best signings. I think he is.
And I do think, as far as, Indiana goes generally, like this opportunity to play Oregon again, I think is a huge moment for really, dude. You spent most of this show complaining we're doing a morning show, and now you think you can call for drops?
Has he really?
Are you serious right now?
You're really complaining. Okay. TCU got a new OC and will run the ball more. That's why Hoover left.
Guys.
No.
Guys. Hey, I watch Landman too, and it's pretty cool. Nice tits. Anyway, the point is.
Listen, the point is he left because he's not going to win there. Texas Tech went as far as Baron Morton could take him.
Dude.
Well,
I mean, perfect display of what we've talked about all year. Couldn't have been. I'm watching this game and I'm like, dude, like what, where is he? Like, where is the great Baron Morton that's going to save this team? Because again, as I've been saying all year, that defense wasn't holding up, man. You have a good defense, but it's not as physical as Indiana. It's not as beat your ass as Indiana's was. And I just think that we saw the difference. And that's what's tough is that you're
absolutely
like you're sitting here and you've got Sorsby now, and I think that's a massive upgrade for you. I think I like Sorsby's not a Heisman winner, but at least with Sorsby he can deliver the football down the field in a more competent fashion, because we know what Oregon's defense presents. We know the challenges, and you just couldn't get it done. And the savage part is going to be when Oregon gets beat on Saturday, because I do think they will get beat. It's going to be because they couldn't keep up in the secondary schematically, and you couldn't figure that out if you're Baron Morton. And that's what I think is going to be just a massive indictment on his reputation and his career, which really sucks for him.
Yeah, I think when you look, I love Indiana and I love Ole Miss. And as great of a story as I think Miami is, again, who's your ceiling? I think as a football fan, you always have to ask yourself that. Carson Beck, he's just not that guy. And I think it's unfortunate for Miami that there's a lot of really good quarterbacks available, and Sam Levitt being one of them. I think Sam probably signs with LSU today. He's got a meeting there on this morning.
Yeah.
But you need an upgraded quarterback in Miami. It's as simple as that. When you have a guy like Mark Fletcher putting up 5 yards a carry against Ohio State, your offensive line's not the problem and your running back's not the problem.
What do you, before we leave the Ohio State thing, because I saw this and dude, everyone was saying that I think the teams in the CFP so far that have had buys are like 1-6, I think it is, or whatever. Like they're not winning the games. I mean, do we categorize that loss as they were off? Is that what that was? Because
they just were not sharp at all.
Yeah,
they weren't. And you know what I think it is, and it's hard to get away from this. We're scared to hurt football players. So we do not hit in our downtime. It's a huge mistake. I think you have to find a way. And I don't know what it is. Do you, if you're Ohio State, do you bring in a team to scrimmage you? Do you, I mean, you have to find a way. And I don't know how you do it. You have to find a way to play competitive football, stylistically similar to who your opponent's going to be. And I think if you look at Miami, is Miami a better football team than Ohio State? Certainly not. But Miami was the better football team that night.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not close. Desmond Bain and that defense absolutely ate Ohio State all night long. All night long. And Carson Beck was terribly average, but look how physical they were up front. The Miami offensive line does not get enough credit.
Yeah, they were getting pushed big time.
They were so physical up front. It was incredible. And I think Ohio State fan, and I get this, you were certain that this was back-to-back, and how incredibly difficult it is to win 2 national championships back-to-back.
With a freshman quarterback.
And an inexperienced quarterback in Julian Sand. But I think the season's a grind. I think, we can talk about portaling and transferring and recruiting, and you cannot sit 3 weeks and not tackle anybody. You cannot sit 3 weeks and do nothing. It's how Notre Dame won games last year. Frankly, it's how Ohio State, and I'll go to my grave saying this, last year was the greatest national championship run we've ever seen. Because they played week in and week out. And I think Oregon, and I know that we disagree on this, and your boy Throat Slam Dan is, I totally get it. That's your guy.
Sucking a ding dong.
Oregon's a horribly flawed football team. And I'll either be proven right or wrong.
I mean, I think that their flaws will be on display.
Why did they lose last year? Because they were sitting home playing poker and drinking Pedialyte for 3 weeks and not doing anything. And I think you saw that with Ohio State. I think it's a huge mistake. We have to either eliminate the 20, what is it? I think it's 27 days, 25 days.
Yeah.
Of downtime. We have to find a way to eliminate that, or you have to bring in a team to scrimmage, or bring in a high school team. I don't care. You've got to find somebody to pop the quarterback, hit the running back, hit the wide receivers. Football hurts. If you're going to get hurt in practice, it's going to happen. Right? But yes, Miami has phenomenal defense. And you sat around for 25 days and you thought that wasn't going to impact you? Come on. Brandon Butler, Day's teams have always been soft and lose to more physical teams. I'm not even going to argue that point. It doesn't help when you're soft and you sit around for 25 days. I'm a huge Ryan Day guy. What he's built in that staff. Matt Patricia is not a soft. That defense is not soft.
The defense isn't soft, and it's a pretty damn good reload year, dude. I mean, I think if you were sitting here saying that Ohio State was going to win the national championship back-to-back years with Julian Saint at quarterback, with all due respect to him, because I do think that he's phenomenal. He's going to be a savage this next season. Like, he's going to be really good. But to sit here and like criticize the performance this year, you got to the CFP in a reload year. Let's be real. So I don't have any issue with Ohio State. I think that my issue and what we're inevitably going to talk about on Monday is that Dan Lanning is going to disappoint again. And I think that the Danimal. Yeah, Danimal.
Dan the throat slammer?
Yeah, Dan the throat slammer, package peeper, that guy. It's going to be a disappointing finish to the year, dude.
You don't get to do this.
Do what?
Especially not with Eric and Raleigh back in the membership. You don't
get the button out for the first time this year here.
Yeah, I've heard that about you. Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't get to completely acquiesce and back away from throat slammer Dan.
My fucking ass.
Yeah, you don't get to do that. What? Oh, Dan's going to disappoint. Oregon's going to disappoint. Duck hunting season, bitches. You don't get to do that.
Why?
Because you've sat here for a year and absolutely throated Dan Lanning and how great he is and this team and oh my God, and I love the Ducks. And let me tell you about some duck confit. Look, guy, you don't get to now say, oh, they're going to disappoint again.
Well,
no. Just like you don't get to blame Aaron Rodgers for the Steelers making the playoffs.
Dude,
you're not going to sit here and be like, oh, man. No, he's not.
What? I'll go one step further. Dan and A-Rod can climb into their little hole after they get bounced from the playoffs.
Oh, now they've got little holes. How do you know? The point is you're being ridiculous. Yeah, well, that's quack. That's exactly right.
Listen, I think we've never disagreed on the flaws of Oregon. What we disagree on is Dan's ability.
You freeze, baby.
His ability to coach his team in a way that allows him to overcome some of that. Again, I think when you're coaching against Curt Cignetti in Indiana style of play, you're going to have a real tough time beating that team if you're unwilling to stop the run.